Porto shocked Juventus as Erling Haaland is an absolute goal-scoring machine, a goal-scoring beast. But in other news, the grass is green, the sky is blue, and water is wet. There's nothing new under the sun when it comes to Erling Haaland that we don't already know. Hey guys, Fledge here, bringing another Fledge Talks video. You know the drill by now. This is the video where I talk about a trending topic or an interesting topic of conversation that is to be had. And today, we are going to be focusing on last night's Champions League games. There were 2 of 8 games to be played over the course of the next week or so that played out last night. We know 2 teams that will be placed into the quarter-final draw. Whenever that is, I think that's like next Friday or something. So we know 2 of the 8 teams that are set to be cut down in this round of fixtures. And yeah, it's safe to say that last night was pretty incredible if you're a Porto fan or a Dortmund fan or just a fan of Erling Haaland in general, because he was on fire last night. So before we get into talking about them games and talk about the talking points that came from them games, I'd like to remind you all to please like the video and subscribe if you're new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. Can't say that enough. But for now, let's get back into the video. Let's talk about last. So we are going to begin with arguably what is right now, currently, the shock of the competition so far in many people's opinions, and that is that Juventus have crashed out of this competition at the hands of Portuguese champions Porto, following a 4-4 draw on aggregate, with the advantage being in the Portuguese champions' favour because of the away goal rule, which now means that for 2 years in a row, Juventus have crashed out of this competition at the same stage via the away goals rule on both occasions. Quite extraordinary for the Italian giants, in all honesty. Porto went 3-1 up on aggregate. They scored the opening goal on the night thanks to a penalty converted by Sergio Oliveira before Federico Chiesa equalised in the second half. Porto then went down to 10 men when Mehdi Taremi, I apologise if I butchered his name, was sent off before Chiesa again scored for Juventus, scored Juventus's and his second goal of the night to take the game into extra time. When in extra time, Oliveira again scored for Porto to make it 4-3 on the night, and for the tie to fall heavily in Porto's favour with a long-range free kick. But incredibly, Juventus did manage to get a goal back with minutes remaining when Adrien Rabiot headed home. But for Juventus, they needed another goal in order to qualify. And unfortunately for them, they couldn't find it in what was an absolutely incredible game. Absolute drama right throughout. It could have gone either way. There were so many chances at either end. But it is Porto, the Portuguese champions, who came out on top in this one. Truly incredible. And I don't mean this in any disrespect to Porto, but I don't think many would have expected them to have knocked Juventus out. But they have done, and overall, I believe that they deserved it. They rode their luck at times. I had to get a bit of luck throughout both legs. But to battle it with 10 men for a large portion of the second leg, and to still manage to cause Juventus problems, and they obviously go on to find another away goal through the away goal rule and win the game via that route, is an incredible game, incredible story, and fair play to them for that. As far as how far they can go in this competition now, it's hard to say, because they could definitely be like one of the shock and surprising stories of this competition. Porto probably have the ability to do that, but I think it would really depend on who they draw in the next round as to say whether they will do that or not. And as far as Juventus goes, well, it's another Champions League-less season for them and for Cristiano Ronaldo. We all know how incredible Ronaldo is. We all know that the stats he pulls in year in, year out. We all know how phenomenal he has been at previous clubs. But I have to ask that the main reason why Juventus brought Ronaldo to Italy in the first place is to help them win the Champions League, to help them win a trophy that they have not won since 2003. And he and the club have failed to do that again this year. Yes, I understand that there is a process and a project that is currently happening with Juventus right now under inexperienced manager and, club and all-round footballing legend Andrea Pirlo. But it's another year older for the Portuguese superstar, in which another year he will not taste Champions League glory. Juventus as a club, though, should look to move on from this and learn from this and come back stronger next year. But for Ronaldo, I'm interested to see where his future lies, whether he will remain with Juventus or whether he may look for a different challenge elsewhere. It could be very interesting to see where he goes. And now we move on to the second game, and that was, of course, Borussia Dortmund versus Sevilla. And this was the game where Erling Haaland once again stole the spotlight, stole the show, as Dortmund and Sevilla drew 2-2 on the night. But it did mean that the Germans were the ones to qualify after it finished 5-4 on aggregate in their favour. The young striker scored twice on the night, either side of half-time, to take his goal tally in the Champions League to 20 goals in 14 competition appearances. That is truly extraordinary. That is absolutely phenomenal. That is incredible, because he's a guy that has managed to achieve scoring 20 goals in very few appearances. And he's beaten the likes of some of the greatest players to ever have played the game to that tally, to that goal tally. He's beaten the likes of Messi, Ronaldo, phenomenal Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo. You name a incredible footballer from the past 20 years or so, he has beaten that player to getting to this milestone. It is truly incredible for the Norwegian striker. Absolutely phenomenal. Can't speak highly enough of this guy. He plays with such an arrogance, and you could tell that in a kind of good way, but you could also tell it in a very competitive style, because of the way that his second goal was a penalty that originally was saved by the Sevilla goalkeeper, but because the Sevilla goalkeeper moved off his line, the penalty had to be retaken, and Haaland gave him a bit of chat after he had scored that penalty. So fair play to Haaland for that. You can tell he's an extraordinary player, and it will be interesting to see where his future lies. Sevilla did come back into the game, to be fair to them. Yusuf En-Nesyri, again, I hope I'm not butchering that name, En-Nesyri, I really apologise, I'm terrible with names. Scored a brace himself for Sevilla late on to give them kind of hope of some sort of late comeback. However, it did prove to be a little too late for Sevilla to try and come back, and it's Dortmund who are the ones to progress. I mean, what more can you say about Haaland? What more can I say about him that I haven't already said in this video? The guy is an absolute beast in front of goal, and he truly shines in the biggest cup competition stage known as the Champions League. Truly incredible to watch this young talent continue to grow and evolve, and it will be interesting to see where his future lies, because, he's not going to be staying at Dortmund forever. So it'll be interesting to see where he lies, whether it's this season, whether it's next season, who knows. But Haaland will definitely be moving on very soon. But if we could talk about Dortmund for just a moment. In this competition, they've arguably been a Champions League dark horse for many years now. A team that has the potential to win the competition, but are ranked outsiders because they're not the favourites. They have a good team, but they don't have the team that are better than other teams that are within the competition themselves. Your Bayern Munich, for example, your Liverpools of previous years, your Real Madrids of previous years, of course. But they are definitely a dark horse to be reckoned with once again. And, they aren't exactly watertight defensively, but when you've got a group of forwards like what they've got, and when you've got a superstar striker in Haaland like what they've got, keeping them to be a well-oiled machine up front and keeping Haaland firing on all cylinders is going to be vital if Dortmund want to have any hope of winning this competition. They've always got a chance with Haaland, they've always got a chance of outscoring the opposition. So combine them two and you've definitely got a chance for Dortmund to go on and make something of this competition. Whether they do or not is another thing. I think they have to draw very well in the out of the hat to get a decent team for the next round. But, you know, I don't think they'll win it this year. But with Haaland, it'll always be an exciting and interesting watch nonetheless for the Norwegian striker to be in their ranks. As for Sevilla, probably best off sticking to the Europa League for them, in all honesty, if they want European success, right? Not to sound like too harsh on them or whatever, but you know, they have been notorious for winning the Europa League in the past several years. So fair play to them. They turned up late on in both games to try and overcome it. Maybe if they'd have turned up from kickoff, maybe they may have made more of a fight of it. But fair play to them, and unlucky next year, who knows. But as I always say, this is just one man's thoughts, one man's comments on this particular topic, this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of both Porto and Dortmund qualifying? What do you make of Juventus and Sevilla crashing out of this competition? What do you make of the things I talked about with Ronaldo? How far do you think Porto and Porto can go in this competition? What's next for Juventus? Going forward, what's next for Andrea Pirlo? What do you make of, like I say, the Ronaldo business? What do you think makes of his future, and where does his future lie? And of course, what do you make of Dortmund, Sevilla? How do you think Dortmund can go in this competition? What do you make of Erling Haaland, Jadon Sancho, Marco Reus? That kind of thing. I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, down in the comment section below. I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading on everything that I talked about in this video. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch, this has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.